Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com. And it's Thursday, it's October 22nd. This will be our chart lesson for the day. This will be our last one this week. No chart lesson tomorrow. Um, I'll be cutting out early again tomorrow. Somebody sent me an email today, I believe it was today, asking, or maybe yesterday, asking when I'd go back to doing them on Fridays. It'll probably be after the time change, sometime in November, when it starts to get dark early again. I usually like to take, generally, once school starts back, I generally start doing them on Friday, but I'm going to extend it a little longer this year. I've kind of enjoyed taking Fridays off, to be honest with you. People don't understand it, but a lot of time and effort and work goes into these videos every day. It's at least 30 minutes to just sit here. I generally take 25 to 30 minutes just to go over all the trades and talk about the chart. And then I have to create the video and all that. So it's a little bit of work. It's about an hour's worth of work. Plus just the fact that a lot of times I'm already done and ready to go home, and I come back and do these. So it is a lot of work. So I hope it's not that I don't want to do them, because I enjoy doing them, and it actually helps my trading, and it gives other traders a chance to try to learn some of these setups and so forth, and how to spot this stuff. So it's not that I don't want to do them. It's just nice to get a break after doing this for, I'm not sure how long we've been doing the videos, probably 5 or 6 years now at least. So doing these 5 days a week um, for 5 or 6 years, it gets to be monotonous. So hopefully you understand. But anyway, let's talk about the chart and wrap this week up as far as chart lessons. Uh, Super trend today. We had this nice two-tiered channel working, or yeah, trend, two-tiered channel working higher here, and you can see that working up. And this was a great trend, but this one is a little bit too steep. And a lot of times, what will happen is you'll get a little flatter channel later on, because it's not a 45-degree angle. This is more of a 45-degree angle, so you'll get a break and a little bit of a correction, and then you just get a new trend that's a little flatter. That's generally what will happen. And you can see we had another two-tiered channel coming along here. We actually overshot that and then reversed. And that's a point. Now, if you hadn't heard me say that before, sometimes if you may not get a break, you'll get an overshoot, and that'll lead to a reversal. Not always, but you see that quite often. And what happens is the market just gets overdone, and so you never really get the break, and then you get sells off. I wasn't crazy as strong as this was. The only reason I like these two shorts is because with the overshoot, you figure we're at least coming back to here, and I'll explain these two trades. But I didn't think it would be, once you got too close to this trend line, there's always a chance we're going to reverse. But you can see how we just keep going lower. And then there's one other possible trade down here. And I didn't mark anything else. There's actually one more trade here I should have circled probably. It's your failed second entry short right there after the reversal. So I will go ahead and put that one on. It's not quite 2 o'clock yet there, so you can see that trend working right up through there. So I'll go ahead and mark that one. I meant to mark it and missed it earlier. But you can see if I back out, you can see that's it's just straight up. And even after the close, we continued high. We're almost back to 2100 again. We're a little more than halfway between 2000 and 2100. So we've recovered nicely once again. This is just the market that keeps going. And I always say that anytime you have a strong sell-off, once you find the bottom, um, a lot of times it'll rally back really quickly. I'm going to keep backing out just so it's a little clearer and easier to see. And we'll talk about the trades here. But you can see this channel working higher. It was a little flat and rangy looking here, but notice we're still making higher highs and higher lows until we bounce off the trend line right there. I like that one. More than anything, you got the low and you tried to go lower a couple of more times there and bounce, and you get a little bar right there off the trend line, right off the EMA. Of course, you probably would have had your trend line more like that. Still works. Um, but I ended up adjusting it a little bit later, moving it down right there. Um, but you notice all that support right there, and you get the failed break lower. Notice how it went a little bit lower than all those other bars. If you bring this down, you can see all those lows. And you get that one tick lower, and then you get a nice little tiny bar here. And just go long right there. And this turns out to be a great move. And if you caught this one trade, any of your runners would have been safe all the way up. So when you start to see a trend like this, you want to try to catch runners. And then we pull back. This is the breakout pull back long. This is the pull back to retest the breakout area across there. You can see that little double top right there. And we tested it at the EMA and the trend line. So you got 3 different pieces of support there. Generally, I would say you want to wait for a second entry. But you're actually looking, this actually confirms the trend line once, and then you got 3 different support mechanisms right there. There's a lot of room between there and that top, and there's a good chance you might get a measured leg. And you can look at that as leg 1, and there's leg 2, and you can see we basically it went a tick or so higher than a perfect measured leg. So I think it's worth entering there. It's a little bit aggressive. It's real close to being green, but we've been steadily going up. We got a little flat here, but we're still working it. We're still making higher highs and higher lows for the most part, other than we went sideways over to the trend line here. And when it bounces there, that just confirms that trend line for sure. And where does it turn down? Right at the highs. And it bounces there again. Again, this one should probably be green because this trend line, this channel is confirmed. Now I'm gonna go ahead and make that one green. We've had a measured move now and another leg up, and you still got plenty of room to scalp out there. We did get through the EMA, but it's right off that trend line again. So if you want to be a little more aggressive, you could go long there, but you definitely want to go long above this little doji right here. It bounces off. And you might have even waited on this bar right here but if you waited on it and got a break, you have to try to get back in down here, and you probably would have got left behind on that one. Takes off, and I'm going to say this, by this time, this is obvious. This is a real strong trend. Look at the EMAs pointing straight up. Look at the trend line. So, and when you get a real strong trend, you're just looking for reasons to get long. You know, you don't have to be so cautious, quite as cautious, and you can get in, especially when there's a lot of smaller bars like it's starting to get. It doesn't look like it, but it's a real strong trend. Then we kind of go flat again. We've already come off the top and went to the bottom, so we're probably heading to the top again. But a lot of times you'll come back and retest the trend line. And so you got to be careful right here because you're kind of going flat. But notice when you got that low and you tried to go lower twice again, that's basically a failed second entry short. You can treat it like that. And that's generally what I wait on, a low and then 2 failed attempts, and then I'm going to go long again, 9 times out of 10, and a strong trend. And if we're going down, you do the same thing, just in reverse. And then notice we made a low here. We tried to go lower, and we tried to go lower again and failed, so you can go long again right there. And even though it's right there close to the eye, this is like a breakout pullback long too. Notice those matching highs across there. And we broke higher, pulled back, and went higher again. And then once again you pull back. And look what happened. We didn't quite get back to the trend line, but we made the new low. We tried to go lower once. We tried to go lower twice. It fails. Go long right there. And then we finally get a break of the trend line right here. Notice the new low. We try to go low once. We try to go low twice. We failed, and look at it go again. That's a failed second entry short in a strong uptrend. Go long right there. You can even go long above that bar, in my opinion, on this one because it's still a ways up to that new high, and you're going to test that high when we move that far. That's a great setup. And notice what it did. If you wanted if you missed this one, it came back after this bar and then went back up. Notice that feels that this market is so efficient, and it's just so uncanny how it does. And once you see it do this over and over, you begin to predict this stuff because you know what it's going to do. And it fills that gap and then takes off again. Notice here we just barely pulled back, and you got a first entry, and you actually got a couple of failures right here. So it's pretty tempting to go long right here, but you got all that. You got several dojis and several bars overlapping, and we're kind of moving sideways again. I would hesitate here. Now that we've had the break in the new high, I would hesitate to go long there. Even though you got those failures. It would have been a 4-tick failure if you went long, unless you got in with a limit order there and let it pull back a little bit. I just don't think you want to go long again. And then it comes back, and you draw that trend line right there. We really confirmed the new trend line here, but I would have waited for it to turn here to confirm it again. And notice you pull back first entry, pull back second entry. You get a nice bullish bar right there. You got a trend working up. You get a break. It's tempting to go long here, but I don't think you should. I think you need to wait on a little because you've got this midline right in here, and we're kind of back below it. I think you want to wait for it to come back and test it again. It does here and gives you a fairly bearish bar. This one, and it does have a little lower high than there, so it's like a second entry. I would have liked it better if it would have ticked below that bar, but it's also right at the high of the day. So this one's a little more aggressive, but if you recognize what's going on and it is still a strong trend, and you want to be a little, you can be a little more aggressive, because notice there's not very many big corrections. And so, if you want to be a little more aggressive, I'm okay with that. And you don't really get another chance to enter that one. And now we've overshot it. You definitely don't want to be going long up here. Because look how far away we are from the EMA. We're coming back to that EMA pretty quickly, and we finally do. And notice what happens. We pull back first entry, pull back second entry. I don't think you want to go long, and then it turns down, and it gets back inside the channel. It turns up and tests it and turns down. I like going short right there, figuring that you're at least going to get back to the midline, probably going all the way to here. And because we overshot it, we're probably going to at least get a break, and we might, a lot of times when you get an overshoot, like I talked about earlier, you get a reversal. And so you got your failed second entry long right there. You still got room to get back here. Look what happened. It shot through the EMA, pulls back and tests the trend line, and boom. And you don't know that you're going to catch this, but that turns out to be a super nice trade. Really nice trade. And then notice how we shoot through here. First, I thought it was just the channel. We kind of overshot it and pulled back. And so it could be that it's a two-tiered. If you draw this other one, it's measured move here. And so when we pull back and look at that bearish bar, I like going short right there. It's a little bit aggressive because it's a first entry. There's not a lot of room here to get out. But if you understand price action, you're pretty advanced. You probably want to take that because you figure we're going to make a measured. We're going to drop until we hit the other side. And look, we hit it right there. It bounces, runs down a little more, and probably traps some people. And then look at that reversal. And that's a sweet reversal. But I don't think that it is a second entry. Notice this pullback first entry, pullback second entry, counting from the other direction. That's a fairly nice bar. We're a long way away from the EMA. Really, if you want to be aggressive, I'm okay with taking that, because that's generally where you catch some really good trades. And then it pulls back right here, takes off again, but we're right at the EMA. That's the first break. We may go lower, but when we get that failed second entry short, you definitely got to get on board back to the high side, and you can see, and that confirms the trend line. So I like that one right into the 2 o'clock hour. And then that's the last one. That gets you into the 2 o'clock hour. But really great day. If you didn't take any of these shorts, don't worry about it, because you did the right thing. But once you get a confirmed trend going in the other way, and you're below the EMA and it's going straight down, if you can find a good entry, by all means take it. So just remember that sometimes when you get the overshoot like that, you don't really get you don't get a retest of the high. It's just the market's just too overdone. But it was a really nice rally, and we're still, like I said, look, we're still going higher. We ended up closing even higher than the highs back around lunchtime, and we're still going higher in the overnight. So really good trading day. You know, when you get these kind of days, if you want to keep trading and keep jumping on, just keep jumping on. Just keep your stop tight so that you don't give it back on a big move like this. Um, yeah, not much else we can say about today. Just a really good trading day, mostly up. Um, I mean, if you just caught one or two of these, or even caught just one and caught a runner, you know you could make anywhere from 2015. Wow, that's a big day. 2015 to, well, we closed in here at 2050, right around 2051, 2052, somewhere right in there is where we closed. So, you know, depending on where you got in, there's 30, 40 points in there. You catch a runner on something like that, you know, it's really hard for, at least for me. I prefer to exit and then re-enter. But you know, I'm experienced at this and pretty good at finding the entries. If you're not real good at the entries, when you get a good one, get the most you can out of it. You know, that's the way I look at it. But I hate to see three or three or four or five or more points be, you know, in my hand and then watch them disintegrate, hoping that we'll go back again, because you don't know what the price action is going to do that far ahead. So I like to go ahead and take my money and exit and find the measured moves and things like that, and or exit when you get the reversal pattern and things like that, and then re-enter again when you get another good entry. So, but yeah, great trading day. It's been a good week. Um, Again, no chart lesson for tomorrow, so we're going to wrap it up and call it a weekend for the most part. I generally come in and trade for an hour or two on Fridays, but I just don't do the chart lesson because once I'm done, I'll trade, and I usually try to be done by 10 o'clock at the latest, and then I'm out the door, and I try to enjoy the rest of the afternoon and start my weekend early. So, but anyway, I'm going to wrap it up for the day. We'll be back to do it Monday. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.